The first sound was a low groan, like the earth itself was straining. Daniel shot upright in bed as the floor trembled beneath him. Then came the roar, the land outside splitting apart. By the time he reached the window, part of his yard had disappeared into darkness. Claire screamed from the hallway, the children crying in confusion. Daniel rushed outside, barefoot, rain still dripping from the storm. Where the garden once was, a massive sinkhole now yawned, its edges raw and unstable, soil tumbling inward like sand through an hourglass. Neighbors quickly gathered, phones flashing, voices in panic. Police and emergency vehicles arrived, sirens cutting through the night. Daniel, instinctively stepping closer to the rim, saw something that didn't look natural. As a geologist, he recognized the irregularities. The soil was disturbed, too fresh, too deliberate. This didn't look like a typical sinkhole. His family huddled on the porch, too shaken to speak. The sinkhole's bottomless gape left them in stunned silence, unable to process what was happening to their home. Emergency crews worked furiously, pushing back the onlookers, and Daniel stood firm, unwilling to step away from the unsettling scene. As the emergency vehicles flooded the area, Daniel couldn't pull himself away. He asked one of the officers, "Any idea what caused it?" The officer shook his head. "Could be natural subsidence. We'll know more when we send the camera down." Daniel, feeling a growing sense of unease, hesitated before speaking up. "I'm a geologist. I've studied sinkholes and landslides. This doesn't look right to me." The officer raised an eyebrow, surprised. "What doesn't look right?" Daniel pointed toward the sinkhole's edge. "The soil's profile is too disturbed. Natural collapses leave compacted layers. This looks different, like it was interfered with." His words caused a ripple of concern among the officers, and after some hesitation, they asked if he could help make sense of the situation. Cameras were lowered into the abyss, and the images they projected showed raw soil walls, layers exposed like a textbook cross-section. But then, deeper into the hole, the camera caught something unexpected, an unnaturally flat edge. "Old mine shaft," an officer suggested, but Daniel shook his head. The soil was too loose, too fresh. This was no mine shaft. What he saw didn't add up. As the camera delved deeper into the sinkhole, it revealed something even more unsettling. The outline of a tunnel braced with rough timber. The beams looked freshly cut, the soil still loose around them. The crowd murmured uneasily, and Daniel's stomach tightened. This was no natural sinkhole. It was something man-made, something hidden. Claire approached, her voice trembling, urging Daniel to come back inside. But he couldn't pull himself away. The mystery was growing too deep. He knew this wasn't just a collapse. It was something that had been deliberately carved out. The realization gnawed at him. Someone had been digging under his home, and now it was open for everyone to see. The engineers and police officers gathered around the feed, their voices filled with disbelief. "No record of any tunnel here," one of the engineers said, his voice clipped. "This wasn't built decades ago. It was dug recently." Daniel nodded, his suspicion confirmed. This was no old structure. Someone had been working here, and the tunnel was still in use. The mystery deepened, and the fear began to creep in.